Beautiful people, it is installation day, so, everything. If you could see the room around me, which I'm not going to show you, it's full of all the stuff we had to take out of the spaces where the workmen are going to come to do things to the windows. So, the chaos of change. And before I get completely distracted and start talking about the chaos of change, let me show you the rocks today. Good morning, Linda. We're going to start with this little teeny tiny one. This is, guess, Tiger's Eye. Morning, Heather. Julian, good morning, gorgeous. Lovely to see you all. The captain and number one are on the bridge. Heather is with us. We are all present. Just a little piece of tumbled Tiger Eye. Wanted to come say hello. Isn't it beautiful? It's interesting, actually. We have a number of things that are kind of yellow or gold. This is a piece of New Zealand agate, completely rough, completely unpolished, anything. You can see the light coming through it. It's quite fabulous. It's formed in a cavity, when there was volcanic activity. I don't really know a great deal about the geology, but you can see it's the negative relief of the inside of a place where some rocks formed and cooled, and then this was a little pocket where different things were able to crystallise, and you can see that this is like the inside of a geode. Hasn't got much of a gap in the middle of it, but there are crystals there. Devon, it's lovely to see you. Good morning. More quartz. This is proper citrine. Sort of smoky and gorgeous and not perfect. Let's have a look at the bottom. It's got its little label on it, which actually says smoky citrine from Zambia. So there you go. It's a beautiful thing. So like I said, we have all these sort of golden tinted rocks today. And interesting, because I don't pick them ahead of time, and I'm in it's a fast flow today. The workmen are supposed to arrive, 10 to 80 minutes or 90 minutes, between 9 and 10 they're supposed to arrive, and it's not long before 9. So, I'm running late today. Morning, Sarah. But everything is gold, and we're talking about fear, right? And fear, of course, relates to the third energy centre in the body, which has this yellow colour associated with it. So there you go. Last but not least, yes, we are all present on the bridge. It's very good. This is unusual. This little fella has not come on them alive ever before. This is a happy dragon. My husband just used to love dragons, and he collected a few. I mean, he still does, but he don't collect them. But isn't this it's taken me a long time to get fond of this one. It's ceramic, it's unglazed, it's got these little dots on its belly and a real belly button. Smiley little face. Weird little eyes with sort of, I don't know what's that. It's a really strange little dragon, but it's very cute. And given that you look at its little feet. Given that it's, and obviously this is clay that's been pinched out by hand. It's just the most unusual thing. But given that we're talking about fear today, it seems very appropriate. Lighten up, open up, soften up. It's okay. And good morning to everyone else who's on here that Facebook has not told me that you're here yet, because, there's a number up the top and it's bigger than everyone I've greeted, so it's lovely to see you. It's installation day, double glazing, right? Disruption, chaos, change. And chaos and change almost always inspires fear. Because it's something new, it's unknown. And let me tell you, I think I said yesterday, I'm sure I said yesterday, installation day is Wednesday, right? I found out on Friday night that installation day was Wednesday. Now, the message was sent to me, I think, it was there on Friday morning, so maybe it had been sent on Thursday late, but I didn't get to my email until the evening, because everything else gets done first. So it was like, oh my God, we've got 4 windows to get paint off, and how are we going to do that? And I went into quite a spin, I really did, because it suddenly became this huge, overwhelming thing. Hi Faye, lovely to see you. It was just really interesting observing myself, getting in a real tiz about it. It wasn't, anyway, I talked about that yesterday or Friday or something. But the thing I wanted to talk about today, morning Charlotte, morning, is about fear and hibiscus, thank you, I'll look forward to that. About fear, and particularly this thing of, okay, so, fear, whatever, but not having to bull your way through it, or force it down, or force it away, face the fear and do it anyway. That whole thing, which, sometimes you just have to do things that scare the crap out of you. Which is better than not doing stuff at all. But it's even better if you can find a way to remain heart-centered, to remain coherent, to remain present, to master your own fear response, and actually turn the volume down. And then act and move and create from that space. It's really much better. So to talk about why that's a good idea and how, I'm going to unpack Fear 101 really. Fear is about survival. Period. If you're being chased by someone with a gun, or a Tyrannosaurus Rex, or an alien. Actually, most of the ETs are really, really beautiful beings, but, the sort of alien that was framed up through the lens of fear, alien predator, the thing that erupts out of your chest and kills you. If you're being chased by something dangerous, it's not a time, to quote Joe Dispenza, to relax and open your heart and create. It's a time to run the hell away. Or fight, or freeze. Those are our choices. Lisa Louise, morning gorgeous. That's what fear is for. It's to help us survive. Now the problem with being human, and we have this privilege, as far as I know, separate from all the other animals, all the other sentient beings that share this planet with us, because they friggin' well are, and there's more understanding about that now. Even a fish can feel fear. And they have really complex social interactions, and they know what they like and they know what they don't like. We're not the only sentient beings on this planet, and we're certainly not the only sentient beings in this universe. Hell, that's ridiculous if I ever heard of something crazy. But to my knowledge, because we have this massive frontal lobe, it's about 40% of the brain, and the nearest relative, the chimpanzees who are really intelligent, I think that's about 11, 18%, 16%. I even remember the numbers. Morning, Sandra! And that gives us the ability, amongst many other things, to create our emotional experience just by thinking. So that's why you can remember something fearful that happened. Say you went to watch a scary movie, something I would never do. But some people love to go to a scary movie. You can remember the first scary movie you went to that really scared you. You can remember it. You can probably still remember the scene that was really scary. The alien jumping out of the chest. Never seen that movie. Why would you do that? Some people love it. We seek experience, right? Oh, that was thrilling. Wow, that was amazing special effects, whatever. So that first time you went to a scary movie or you had a really scary experience, you can think about that now, and before long you will be feeling those feelings pretty fast, because it was powerful, it was fearful. And so your brain, when there's this new inrush of information, this new thing, you're having an emotional response. When you have that emotional response, the brain looks out and takes a snapshot of everything. This must be important. I better remember this. Good, bad, or indifferent, by the way. Actually, not indifferent. Really good, really bad. The brain is going to take notice, take a snapshot, and if it's really good, every time you see a beautiful sunset like you just saw and had this wonderful expansive feeling about, you're going to remember that and feel more expansive feelings. But if you see something or some aspect of something that actually reminds you of the moment when the alien erupted out of the person's chest, you are going to not even necessarily consciously remember that you remembered some aspect of that experience in the movie theatre, but your body is going to do the fearful experience for you anyway. You think, why the hell am I suddenly feeling nervous or anxious? Why do I feel like something awful is about to happen to me? Where the fuck did that come from? That's how it works. Of all of the information that's available in the environment when something powerful happens to you, good or bad, the brain records a great deal more of it, and it makes connections in the synaptic, it makes synaptic connections in your brain. So there is actually something engraved in your grey matter about what just happened, and it stays there. And if you remember it, then it gets stronger, it gets bigger. That's how PTSD happens. Hi, Sarah. Morning. So then, if any aspect of that experience that the brain recorded, because it said, this is important, I need to remember this, I need to either try to find more of this because it was really good, or I need to avoid this like mad because it was horrible, right? Any aspect of that neural network gets fired up, the brain says, right, that was horrible, I got to run away. Even if it's just some comment that somebody said, or some picture that you saw in a magazine, or whatever, or a series of thoughts that fire in your head so fast you didn't notice, and suddenly you went from here to here to here to here, boom, you're seeing that erupting out of someone's chest again, and suddenly you're afraid. But it happens so fast inside your brain, and so automatically, that you never noticed that was what happened. I have watched it, because I've gotten better at catching these things, often after the event, but I've still gotten better at noticing it and understanding it. So that's what happens, right? And it's automatic. And the more those fearful things get played, or the more the happy things get played, whatever it is, the more we fire and wire that neural network, the stronger, the bigger, the more enriched, the betterer it becomes, and the betterer it does that experience, good or bad. Doesn't matter. That's how the system works. So you get the situation because humans can create the emotional experience just by thinking, and then the body gets really programmed and knows how to do the thing without you. Okay, that's what happens without you. That's why panic attacks happen without you, because somewhere along the way you've programmed your body to be the mind of fear. And by the way, that programming, I say it might have started in utero. If your parent, your mother, was under a lot of stress, you get conditioned by the same chemistry she was experiencing, for whatever reason. And of course, depending on, if she was arguing with everybody all the time, you might actually be conditioned to the mind of anger. If she was in fear all the time, you might be conditioned to the mind of fear. Baby shares mum's bloodstream. So, it can start really, really early. And we can change all of that, by the way. The earlier it starts, it takes more work, but you can change it. I know, because I'm doing it. Helen, lovely to see you, gorgeous. So, that's the thing about fear. Now, notice that means that a fearful response, barring the fact that babies, when they first come into the world, they're afraid of falling. That's it, right? That's built in, because if mum drops you, it's probably bad. Apart from that, every other fear that we ever experience, we have learned. We've had an experience like, I put my hand on the oven, it was hot, it hurt, I'm not going to do that again. So we learn to be afraid of the stovetop, of things that feel hot when we start to appreciate, to approach them. I won't do that again, Stick your finger in the socket. That didn't feel good. I'm not going to do it again. The brain, that's how we learn, through experience. The problem is, when this very adaptive thing of learning through experience, and learning what to avoid through experience, becomes maladaptive, as Joe says, Joe Dispenza, this wonderful person who's taught me so much about how my brain works, which has just been great, like an operating manual for my life, my brain, my body. So, that's great. But, to take that analogy to a ridiculous conclusion, if you, everywhere you go, you've had a bad experience sticking your finger in a socket. If everywhere you go, whenever you see anything that is remotely like a power plug on the wall, your brain goes, don't go near that, you're going to get hurt. And then you see that and you keep being afraid of power sockets. And then, because a light switch doesn't look too different from a power socket, sooner or later light switches are going to start to scare you. Because it's the same shape, and your brain goes, that's the same shape as a power switch. Oh, no, that's scary. And before you know it, anything that's sort of, rectangular shaped, you see like the internet plug on the wall at your workplace, and that starts to scare you. And you think, why the hell am I scared of, Again, it's a silly example, but I'm sure it's happened to somebody. Because the brain, it associates things. So, power plug, light switch, internet connection, sooner or later there's going to be a problem with the cables that come out of those things. And that is actually how it works. The fear grows because there's all these things in the environment that look like the thing that was the original issue. And then if you respond to those things that look like it, then they get wired into the network that says this is dangerous. And it's all based upon the past. And you can see how it gets very limiting. So, if you have a really destructive person in your life who said, you're no good, you'll never be any good, you're useless. And then, and maybe that's your childhood and that's all wired in, And then any person that reminds you of that person gets tarred with that brush inside your head before you've even walked up to them. We talked about that yesterday in a way, expectations. But this is another way how it happens. So it's all based upon the past, and it gets networked and it gets enriched and it gets bigger and bigger, and there are more and more triggers, and it becomes more and more limiting. So dealing with fear, you actually have to realise that's how it works. And also, if it's got that bad, or even if it's less, but that's how it works, it gets very hard to argue with that. It's beyond being something that you can say, I'm going to choose not to feel afraid, because you say, that's fine, I don't feel afraid, or I'm feeling okay, I'm feeling good. You choose what you want to feel, and then you see a light switch and boom, it's well, how the hell? So for me, what I've had to learn to do is get into my own operating system and actually turn the volume down. And I didn't even know how much fear I was feeling on a regular, ordinary, normal day-to-day basis, because I just thought it was me. Now I understand that. I understand the dominant emotion in my life has actually been fear. So, how do you turn this down? Really simple. This is practical. Anyone can do this. Don't think it's too simple. I've talked about breath before, but we're going to just revisit this. I just got this little download. I said we need to revisit this. Hi, Barb. Lovely to see you, honey. I am very well. I'm very well, thank you. We're going to breathe. You're going to, a breastbone, right? A chest bone, a sternum, a thing that sits in front of your heart. Put your brain, put your awareness behind that in the centre of your chest, right? Your heart's in there too, beating away, but we're putting your energy into your heart centre. And you notice how I talk about all the fear, that it starts to sort of bubble and pop, and I can feel it in the field that we carry when we're together. So put your attention into the centre of your chest, and immediately I start to feel things drop. Araceli, lovely to see you, namaste. Put your attention in the centre of your chest, and now this took me a while to get used to, because when I breathe in, I think of my chest getting bigger, and then when I breathe out, the other way. But I want you to imagine, as you breathe in, that you're breathing the air in through this heart centre. So instead of coming in through your nose and your mouth, well, hopefully just your nose, it's better if you keep your mouth shut and breathe in through your nose if you can. Breathe in and imagine that the energy is coming into your heart. You can imagine it coming in the front. You can imagine it coming in the back. Imagine it coming in the sides. You can even imagine it coming in from the top and the bottom. Imagine it coming in like a star, all the light that goes out of a star, but in reverse. That's really nice. And as you breathe out, the reverse of that, whichever direction you like. I like the all-around one. I like to imagine like a star, and even just that as I breathe in, the star grows, or the star shrinks, if you like. All the light comes in as I breathe, and all the light goes out as I breathe out, and then try it the other way. That as I breathe in, as you breathe in, the star gets brighter. And then as you breathe out, it doesn't exactly get dimmer, but all that brightness stays, but it kind of comes right into you. So you play with this. And particularly that thing of imagining the energy, the light, the breath, the oxygen, the air coming into your heart from all around of you and somehow filling you up, and then letting it go out as you breathe out and somehow filling the space around you. It's really powerful. Now what you've done in playing with that right here is you've taken your attention off those fearful networks that were firing and wiring quite happily, because I poked a few of them. Just going to look at this. Yep. You've come out of the past and into the present. Thank you, Linda. See, you got to change what you're paying attention to. You got to take your attention off what you're doing, which takes a real choice sometimes when it's screaming at you like a monster and say, I'm going to eat you, you are going to die, and your whole body is saying, I'm going to be eaten, I'm going to die, to make a conscious choice to put your breath in the center of your chest and breathe in and out. Say, I don't care that there's a Tyrannosaurus Rex standing right behind me. I'm going to imagine this light that as I breathe in, it grows. And as I breathe out, it comes into me and it stays bright and powerful. And then I breathe in again, it grows some more. It gets brighter and brighter and brighter as I breathe in, and then it stays with me. And you change your attention, you take your attention off that neural network, and you start to fire and wire something else. And as you breathe in and breathe out, just getting that visualization going, then you can add maybe a sound to it. Maybe it's a beautiful sound. You've got to involve all the senses. So you see it, you hear it. It's this beautiful sound that grows. It swells and diminishes, but it never goes away. And then what would that smell like? And what would it taste like? And what would it feel like? Can you imagine it washing in and out of your body like warmth, maybe? And you see you're recruiting more senses, which means you're building that neural network and making it stronger. And then when you've really started to feel that, and this can take some time, okay? You get faster, but it can take some time to start with, and your brain will wander and it'll want to go back to the Tyrannosaurus Rex and the saber-toothed tiger and that person that you hate, and it'll wander, and you have to keep pulling it back, saying, no, we're doing this. When you do that, you can start by then, you should be able to generate some kind of more elevated emotion. Maybe just compassion. Maybe just peace. Maybe just safety. Maybe love. Maybe gratitude. Gratitude's a great one to do. You've got nothing else. I'm so grateful I have a brain. I can imagine this thing going on in my heart. I'm so grateful I can change my mind. I can stop looking at that thing that's scaring me, and I can look at the thing that I want to look at. As soon as you do that, you've changed it. So you just have to practice. But this is how you get into the operating system. I do this too, right? I have to do this too. I've got better at saying, wait a moment, I'm losing the plot here. Even just pulling my breath in and out of my heart a few times. I mean, it might not be enough to really settle me down. That takes longer. I'm not that much of a master. But just changing my focus does break the state. And that's what I wanted to share with you today, that you can break the state. You don't have to wait for anything outside of you to change. Obviously, if somebody's pointing a gun at you or going to hit you, run the hell away. That's what it's for. But if you're sitting around in an anxious state, realize it's about the past, just like what you said, Linda, and you can change your mind. You can put your attention on something else, and by doing that, you will change the chemistry that pours to your body. And the simplest way to do it is to put your attention in the center of your chest where your heart is and breathe in and out of there. And when you've done that a little bit, add some elevated emotion. Heart lock technique, Heart Math Institute. Very simple. In the present moment. In the now. Yeah, there's so much I could respond to, but I'm out of time and I gotta go. Today is installation day. Thank you so much for joining with me. Big love. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.